is listening.
All right, tonight we have even more big breaking developments in our quest to hold those who abuse power, those who are corrupt accountable. Now, as the DNI chief, John Ratcliffe, declassified infamous intelligence community assessment annex on Russian interference. And we now know that it left out key details about red flags that they knew about Christopher Steele, including that he was fired as a source for leaking to the FBI. It also proves how Mr. Super Patriot, James Comey, misled President Trump about the dirty dossier. It's salacious and unverified. But he signed the warrant earlier using the dossier as the basis of his FISA application. He signed 3 of them. This all comes as the Senate Judiciary Committee has now authorized subpoenas for over 50 government officials in the Crossfire hurricane investigation. Joining me now with reaction, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. You know, Senator, you had blockbuster testimony from Rod Rosenstein. Knowing what we know now, wouldn't have signed that FISA application. We wouldn't have had the country go through 2.5 years of hell with Mueller. We now know that the FBI knew from its earliest dealings in July and August of 2016 that Steele was a Russia research project funded by Clinton and the DNC. FISA courts were never told this information. Director Wray, where are you? He hasn't yet to turn over those to the Senate, slow walking that. The House GOP, we're going to get 10 criminal referrals in the next few days about leaking and misconduct in the Flynn and Crossfire hurricane case, and this DNI declassification I just mentioned. I would say, Senator, that the American people were not only lied to repeatedly, and that these people we've identified for over 3 years on this show did everything we reported they did and more.
Yeah, and nobody seems to give a damn in the mainstream media. Yeah, so just think about how much coverage was given to the Mueller investigation. 2.5 years, $25 million. So what do we know? In January 2017, Comey basically provides President Trump a copy of the Steele dossier and says to the president, I don't know if this is true. We can't verify it. We just want you to know about it. That's the same document that was used multiple times to get a warrant against Carter Page, where Comey and McCabe and others, Comey for sure, signed an affidavit to the court saying it was reliable. We know in January 2017 that the FBI interviewed the Russian subsource that provided all the information to Steele, and he said the dossier was a bunch of bar talk, unreliable hearsay. So I have the tools as chairman to get to the bottom of this, and I will.
Is there anybody within the FBI, because I still believe that I still have their pin on, that 99% of them are good and decent people. Knowing what you now know and we all know, are you confident that the people that abuse their power, the people that are corrupt, the people that knew and had premeditated fraud in a FISA court, people involved in trying to help Donald Trump not win, and those also then, you know, lying to the FISA court, and all that, are they going to be held accountable, Lindsey? Because I think I'd go to jail.
Yeah, so let me answer the question you asked about people in the FBI. There was an FBI agent who thought Steele wasn't very reliable because he didn't trust Steele, and a couple of them tried to find out where the dossier originated from, and lo and behold, they were able to find the Russian who supplied Steele with all the information, and the FBI, the professional, said it sounds like Russian disinformation. There's a multiple-page memo from the interview of the Russian subsource in January, basically shredding the reliability of the dossier. The question is, did anybody in the FBI go to McCabe and Comey and say, oh, by the way, the document we've been using for months to get a warrant is no longer reliable? I find it hard to believe that nobody at the top was told by the professionals in the organization our case fell apart.
You had, I thought, the biggest blockbuster testimony from Rod Rosenstein. I want you to explain what it told you and what the next steps are. And by the way, you were criticized because people said, well, he's not moving fast enough. We had to wait for the Horowitz report, taking forever. We're still waiting for the Durham report. Okay, so there's a time and a place. What did it tell you, and what are the next steps?
It tells me that Rosenstein signed a warrant application having no idea what he was signing, that he trusted the system, and the system should not have been trusted. It tells me that the scope memo in August of 2017 allowing Mueller to investigate the Trump campaign was written by the same people who lied to the court. So what am I going to do? I'm going to call every person who signed the warrant and ask them, did you know about the doctoring of an email? Did you know that the FBI had learned that the dossier was no longer reliable? And I'm sure most of them are going to say no. I don't believe McCabe and Comey could have possibly not known that the dossier had been rejected by the subsource. I can't believe the FBI is that poorly run, that the most important investigation in 30 years of a sitting president, that nobody told the top of the FBI, oh, by the way, our case fell apart. And finally, I'm not going to let 4 people who interviewed the subsource for 3 months get blamed for this. It's not fair to blame it on the underlings if, in fact, the people at the top knew.
So at the end of the day, is there anything that you watched the coverage on this program and our ensemble cast? Yeah. Is there anything that we said that was wrong that you see? And is there anything the rest of the mob and the media that was saying about Trump and Russia, did they say anything that was right?
Well, all I can tell you is in August 2017, I find no evidence to suggest that anybody named in the scope memo that there was any evidence they were working with the Russians. By August of 2017, the Carter Page warrant application was completely destroyed by the FBI interview of the subsource. January the 4th of 2017, they wanted to drop General Flynn from Crossfire Hurricane, but it was the 7th floor of the FBI that insisted that he continue to be investigated. So every time there was a stop sign, they ran it. Every time there was exculpatory information, they ignored it. What caused all this? I'm going to get to the bottom of it, and as chairman, I have the tools with the subpoena power
I gotta go.
I didn't have before.
Now, based on all we know, just all we just know now, and you're going to get a lot more information.
Yeah.
Is it wrong for me to mischaracterize this as an attempted coup by people in the highest positions of power within the FBI and our intel community? Does that seem is that a fair statement? That's what I see.
Well, here's what I can tell you for sure, that the court was lied to repeatedly, and that the people had a bias against Trump. They acted on that bias, and it should never happen again. And all I can say, if you care about the rule of law, you should want me to get to the bottom of this. Here's what I think. If it's Trump, nobody really cares on the left how you get him as long as you get him, but I care.
I care too, because our Constitution, equal justice and application of our laws, all in play now. All right. Thank you, Lindsey Graham. You're looking at live pictures of ongoing police protests tonight in Brooklyn, New York. We're monitoring that closely. We'll bring you updates. And coming up today, the president announced that he is finalizing an executive order on police reform. That's next.